All right, so this is a video about trying to do some corrective exercises for your upper body. So the upper body shoulder girdle is a very complex system. It's a really strange thing because the back of your shoulder blade looks like it was just kind of placed there on the back of your rib cage, and the only thing that's really holding your whole shoulder together are all these different muscles. And your shoulder blade is actually very mobile, and typically what I find when people have like a lot of shoulder issues is that their shoulder blade is not moving correctly. So if you can imagine, these are your two shoulder blades on the back of your body right up here. Those shoulder blades should be able to move in toward each other and out away from each other. Now they don't just move lateral like this because they wrap around the edges of your rib cage. So as they go outward, they can actually go around the sides of your rib cage. So those are two motions. They can go in, then kind of go out and forward around the front of your rib cage, right? They can also go up, and they can also depress and go down. And then one of the last motions that they can do is they can both kind of wing outward like this, and then they can both kind of wing inward and pivot like that. So they're extremely mobile when everything is working correctly. So the problem is, like when you have some of those dysfunctions, is that it can lead to different impingements. So if you can imagine this arm bone right here, your humerus, coming into that little glenoid fossa of your shoulder socket, if that's not working correctly, and this is your shoulder socket, which basically is part of your shoulder blade complex, so if that shoulder blade does not effectively twist outward, this humerus bone cannot pivot correctly up. So a lot of times I see people when they're moving their arm out and they're like, I can only get it to here. And a lot of times they get this impingement syndrome right here across the top of their shoulder. Well, typically that's caused when the shoulder blade on that right shoulder is not moving outward. And I start testing some of the muscles, it does not do that little pivot action. And that's why their arm kind of gets stuck right here, okay? Because it's basically bone is now pounding into bone instead of it having to be able to pivot up like this. So I'm gonna show you a few different exercises that may help with some shoulder stuff, but kind of pay attention. If some of these do not seem to help, or if they bother it, obviously stop and kind of reassess, but look at a couple of things. Look at your total range of motion. If you can't go into some of the positions that I'm trying to take you into or go into, then change your range of motion just slightly. But pay attention to what I'm saying for like what muscles I want you to feel. So that's kind of my second point is we're trying to go at a pretty low intensity. It's not, you know, the whole no pain, no gain mentality. It's more about really trying to get in touch with that muscle. So similar, I'll give you a quick example, is if you've been working out just a little bit and somebody comes in there like, oh wow, you're working out. Like as soon as they squeeze your arm, most people will kind of flex that bicep muscle, right? And be like, oh yeah, thanks, I have been working out, thanks for noticing. But you should be able to mentally flex, like even without a weight in my arm, I can still flex that muscle. Doesn't matter even what positions that I'm in, I can still flex this bicep. You should be able to do that same kind of mind muscle flexing with all of the muscles throughout your entire body. So whether it be chest, shoulders, neck, stomach muscles, you should be able to flex those muscles. So really what I'm trying to get at here is that I want you to flex the muscle, but we're not trying to like rip it apart like we are in some of those other like strength building or mass building exercises. So it's a little different mindset focus that we're trying to do here. So here's a couple of ranges of motion to look at, but please reach out if you need more direction or you're noticing that this isn't clearing up or that you're not seeing any improvement, because there might be something a little bit further down the chain. There might be something in your core or in your hips or even down into your feet that could be affecting or locking up other muscles all the way up into your shoulder and neck areas, okay? So here are a couple of different ranges of motion and some corrective exercises we can check. This first one I just call is the bear hug. So bear hug is you're just opening your arms out wide like this, and you kind of collapse your rib cage and you cross your arms just like you're hugging a bear in front. Now when you pull your arms behind you like this, you should feel those muscles right between your shoulder blades squeeze together. So that's what I'm feeling right now, is just like I'm trying to crack a walnut between my shoulder blades, okay? And I can feel those muscles in my upper back squeezing together. When I come forward like this and I cross my arms in front, I'm feeling these big chest muscles kind of squeeze and contract when I do this. So again, here's just kind of a side view, but I'm just opening my arms out wide and I'm crossing them in front. Here's more of a back view, opening my arms out wide and then crossing them in front. But I'm just trying to pay attention to, can I flex these chest muscles coming across, and can I flex these shoulder blade muscles when I come back? Okay, so I do this one about maybe 10 or 15 times in a row. Depends on how you feel. If you start getting really fatigued, drop that number down. And I do between, 2 or 3 sets of those 10 to 15 reps, but it varies on the day. Sometimes my shoulder's really sore and that really fatigues it fast. So then I go less, okay? Less range of motion, less reps and sets. Okay, so that was exercise number 1. Number 2 is one I just call the swimmer, okay? So one arm is going straight up over my head. The other arm is going behind me. So I'm really trying to get this, vertical, position, okay? And I just switch back and forth. Now, as I do this personally, I notice like right now today, I'm able to get this arm a little closer to my ear, and this one kind of wants to sit way over here, okay? So I have to really kind of work to try to bring that one in. It's tougher, it's tighter on this side, and I kind of lean my head on that side. So again, I'm just trying to do this swim motion, kind of up and down. But when I do this, I can feel a little bit here on the front of the delt. The main muscles I'm trying to work make kind of an X pattern across my upper back, okay? So when I do this one, I'm kind of face away and do it, but I'm really trying to imagine there an X going from my right shoulder blade down across to my left lower back. Okay, those are the muscles that kind of contract to pull me back here, okay? And when I go this arm up, I'm trying to imagine the other edge of the X going from the top of my left shoulder blade down toward my right hip as I squeeze those muscles together. Okay, so again, I feel this more when it's working correctly in my upper back as I do this swimmer motion. So similar to that first exercise, I'm doing about 2 to 3 sets, about 10 to 15 repetitions for that one. The last one that I'll show you is one I just call the snow angel. So from here, just like you're flopping down laying in the snow, trying to make that outline of a snow angel, just bring my arms up to the sides, over my head, and then back down again. I kind of cross them in front. So I'm just going into this big snow angel motion, just up and then back down again. Now, as I'm doing this, what I'm imagining is that my shoulder blades are winging outward to the sides and then in and together again, okay? And I can change my hand position. You can start with your thumbs down. You can go kind of thumbs pointing forward, or you can go thumbs up. And you can have one that's different than the other if your shoulder is not allowing you to go into that position. So even going to here and trying some of those different ranges of motion, but really trying to imagine those shoulder blades kind of pulling apart. You can try all of those positions, okay? Now when I do this, the muscles that we're really trying to focus on, you might feel some up here in the traps, and that's okay. But I want you to focus on those muscles kind of between the shoulder blades and even below the shoulder blades that are allowing you to get into that full pivot motion. So again, sometimes I have to go here and start with my thumbs kind of facing up. That's a little easier position for me. But then after doing a few of those, then I kind of turn and I have my thumbs kind of facing forward in this position. And the toughest one for me is actually pointing my thumbs down with my palms behind me, trying to go up this way. That one's really tight. Like I can feel that little kind of pinch along that right shoulder. So with that right arm, I kind of turn it just a little bit, and now I can match it. So even if the left arm and right arm are not exactly doing the right thing, right now I feel the same muscles working on the left and the right side. So there's just a few examples. And again, on that last one, same thing, 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions, but you're just trying to get those shoulder blades to mobilize. There are way more muscles in the shoulder, to try to work on. So if some of those don't work to help open up, some of that shoulder and loosen up some of the neck and upper body stuff, give me a shout and we'll try to figure out some more, in-depth exercises.